I want to call your attention to an article in the Freelance Star, Spotsylvania to search for a new superintendent without help from consultants. We've touched upon this evening, that you're asking the human resources to look into this without using a consultant. The article says Dawn Shelley, Chancellor District Representative to the Spotsylvania School Board, says she disagrees with tasking the division's Human Resources Department with the search for a superintendent. We need to hire an outside firm to do a proper search and a widespread search. She said, none of us have the expertise to be able to do that. I can't help thinking from being at a previous school board meeting back in January about this word expertise. We hear this a lot. We need to have experts handle these issues. We need people with experience, qualified people, people with respect for programs and policies and procedures and progress and all this sort of thing. So that's why firing the previous superintendent was a bad thing, you see, because he had all of these qualifications. He was an expert, although from the previous speaker's data, it doesn't seem he did all that great of a job. You can't hire an outside consultant to advise the board who's not part of the system because he didn't have experience in education. I heard that distinctly during that meeting as well. It seems that there's a kind of a mentality that only the people on the inside of the establishment, the education establishment, have a right to have an opinion about how a school division should be run. That it's really a question of who's in charge, an entrenched professional bureaucracy or parents and voters who had the temerity to elect a new majority on the board. And maybe somehow people think that we live in a country where there's supposedly democracy, you have elections, and you have a new majority on the board. The new majority gets to make the policy and run the school division. You silly people, you. Why would you ever get an idea like that just because you won an election? You see, the experts and the people with experience should be the one to run things. They'll decide what books should be in the library. They're the ones who will decide how sensitive social issues should be addressed. They're the ones who should decide whether people should be forced to wear masks or not. Not you people just had the temerity to get elected. And if you disagree, and if you somehow get the idea you should be running the schools, well, then you'll be defamed. You'll be called a bunch of book-burning Nazis. You obviously have personal motives behind this. It's not simply that you disagree with what the education establishment wants. We'll have a recall petition against you, but it's organized in grassroots, and you wonder really who is organizing that. We, the establishment, will tell you how to run the schools, not you people who think you just got elected to a majority. Which then begs the question, who is the we? And I don't know that it's a single organization, certainly not a single individual, but I would point out some group in particular. And I was glad to see at one of the meetings in January, the gentleman from the SEA, the Spotsylvania Education Association, report you had a majority here less than 2 weeks, and they had a resolution of no confidence in the new board majority. They basically declared war on you before you'd even had a chance to get the gavel warmed up. And every time Mr. Twigg, has a little trouble being the newcomer with the parliamentary procedures, they sit there and cackle and hoot and so forth. What is the SEA? The SEA is the local branch of the NEA, the National Education Association, Teachers Union. Now, look, I don't have anything against teachers, and certainly not against unions. I mean, people want to organize any employees and say we want to have our wages and all that. But this is also an ideological organization. They have positions on reproductive rights and whatever Fauci's latest fairy tale is, and LGBT and CRT. Oh, there's no CRT. Sorry, it's just equity and social justice. What we're really seeing here is that there's a group with a political agenda that thinks it has a preemptory right to run everything. And if you object to it, you're at fault. And this is basically saying if they're not allowed to indoctrinate the kids the way they want, you're bringing politics into schools. Kids, not politics. That's what it really means. Our politics should prevail. You don't have anything to say about it just because you're a majority. So I'd like to ask the board to consider a possible resolution. I think it's a conflict of interest if any of the board members have an affiliation of any sort with the NEA or any of its affiliates? Are you members of the NEA, or do you have any kind of relationship with the NEA? I think something the public deserves to know.
Forgive me for
Thank you.
interrupting.